The show is called Wanderlust and Souvenirs, and that's because the paintings come from the resources that I gather while I'm traveling. Now, as a child, I traveled a lot, I moved a lot, and so it is something that's instilled in me, the desire to see different cultures, go to different places, to feel a sense of excitement and learn new things. And so that has become something that has stayed with me. Even as an adult, I moved around to try to grow as I learn from different cultures. And so this series comes from the wanderlust that resulted due to my constant traveling as a kid. And I would say that the first two paintings that started the series are the two triptychs. So the one behind me has fabric. I incorporated fabric from my old clothes. And I'm attached to certain pieces of my clothing, and it's very hard for me to let go. Now, with this skirt, it has traveled all over the world with me. It's a very comfortable skirt. But once I got the idea that I will recycle it in a painting about traveling, I was really ready to let it go. And so with this one, it's about Malaysia. So I just returned from Malaysia, where I stayed on an island that was very, it felt like a jungle, where when the sun sets, the bats all come out and you're just amongst bats and trees. And it was very relaxing and very, very verdant. And so in this painting, I really wanted to portray a very fecund area with a lot of greens, different shades of greens. And of course, my skirt sort of played, they have sort of flowery motifs on it. And so it becomes really rich and beautiful. And so with the other triptych too, I recycled a blouse that I bought in Sydney, Australia, and I had the hardest time letting it go. But once I thought I'll create a painting about my times in Australia, playing in the sun, the shimmering light, the heat waves, and the islands, so I thought that it's a great way to let it go. So these two paintings started the sort of the interpretation of traveling and my the joy I have in these different places. And on this side of the gallery, I have a series that's inspired from my 2017 residency in Berlin, where I created 25 paintings, a set about memory, about how when we try to capture an experience by framing it through camera, the lens, we are actually removing ourselves from that very experience. And so it's a very interesting thing to me, how our memory works, how we remember things. And so the series became my Berlin Souvenirs. So from the onset of the photograph of something unique or something that I experienced, I image transfer it onto canvas, and then from there I paint it with different layers of abstraction. It sort of reenact the idea of how memory goes through different subjective stages. And so from there I gathered a lot of resources, and it sort of gave me an epiphany that I've traveled so much, I've taken so many photos, what do I do with these photos? So I realized they become my resource. So the resources are what fueled the paintings here. So for example, with this one, this is when I was in Berlin in May, I went to a show, a friend invited me to a show, it's called The One, at Friedrichstadt Palast. And the building is an Art Deco building with beautiful tiles. And so these are actually images of the tiles, the circles. And if you look closely, you can actually really see the textured glass. And what I've used in this particular painting, I gave them different meaning. They're no longer tiles, but they are stars. So the painting is called Amongst Stars. So I see these as huge trees. And then in the sky, there are stars. And also, at the same time, the double meaning of the title is that these are actually beautiful costumed dancers on stage. And so they are the stars, so amongst the stars on the stage. So if you look through the show, you will see different ways that I've used these tiles. For example, in this one, this painting belongs to a group of four, where I've created sort of like a forest area. And they all start with the meeting place and then colon, sort of a definer of what that place is. And this one is called Palast because it still has the tiles from Palast. And the meeting place came from the pizzeria that was near where I was staying in Berlin. It's called Il Trovo, which is the Italian word for the meeting place. Now, why I chose that is because I like the idea of the meeting place, and also because the pizzeria has amazing wooden tables. And so what I did is I took pictures of the wood grain, and they are on the bottom of these paintings. They are sort of the background that adds texture and depth to these trees. And so there are 4 of them, and you'll see different location. Some of them, actually this one, you can see the nails, actually that's on the table. So this one I've actually called it Ritrovo 2 because this one really does highlight the table. And if you really look closely, you can see still little tiles from the Palast, okay? And then there is also this series of the flowers, the crocheted tablecloth with these big flowers. Now there's a really large painting upstairs that was the very first one. And what I wanted was, because it was May when I was in Berlin, and we went outside of Berlin, it was Wanderlust is the town, and our Brazilian friend has this really bright colored tablecloth with these flowers, and I thought, you know, it's almost like summer arrived early there. And with this one, what I did is I contrasted these flowers with the tiles from Palast. What I wanted to create is of the high art and the low art, the 2 different sides, one in Berlin city center and one outside of the city. And the painting is called Unexpected Companion, where these 2 things, which would never ever meet, do in my paintings. And also there's one outside. Shall we go outside? Yeah? Okay. Right. So this painting continues the crocheted flowers. Again, I decided to create a contrast of natural flowers, which I received when I was in Berlin. It was my birthday month, and I had a lot of fresh flowers. So I took photos of that, and then I combined the crocheted flowers in this painting, showing, I think the title is called Meanwhile on the Other Side of the City. So of the fresh flowers and also of the artificial flowers. And what I love is always the juxtaposition. So in this painting, it's also super textured. It's almost like faded memory, rough memory, right? This painting is called Stillness and Flight, and it is the painting about Japan, my trip to Japan. And this is the painting that I used for the sort of the promo for the show Wanderlust and Souvenirs, because I think when people think of Wanderlust, they think of planes. And I do have a series of paintings that feature planes because I have flown ever since I was a kid, and it's something that is part of my life. And so with this one, with Japan, this painting has 3 different areas: Matsushima, Osaka, and Narita. And Matsushima, it's actually a little corner of a beautiful shrine, and it's a door that is well protected, but in my painting, I made it look like it's still in war-torn zone. So it's a little corner of a door, but I have repeated it and extended the black lines so to create a very strong structure. And what I have also are the planes from Narita Airport. And when I was flying from Matsushima to Kobe, I flew past Osaka. And a lot of my paintings feature aerial views of towns that I'm arriving at or airports. And so in this case is the Osaka city, and which you can see here. And also the painting is very textural because I used a lot of paste. And these oval shapes that you see in the painting, they're actually indentation created from my favorite cookie box from Japan. Now it comes in an oval tin, and inside is the plastic tray where it has different compartments of different flavors. And so if you look closely, you can see the indentation of the lining. And